Hello and welcome back to My Life on a GLP-1. I'm your host, Scott Johnson. Today we have a very special episode. We are celebrating our 150th podcast episode. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, Sarah. Can you believe this? I know we do these quick episodes, but I am shocked that we have done this many.
Congratulations, Scott. So, in honor of this special day, what are we diving into?
Today I want to talk about gratitude. Now I know that sounds a little soft focus maybe, but after more than 2 years on this journey, I've been thinking about the real concrete things that have changed, the things I wasn't expecting.
I like that. Not the inspirational quote version of gratitude, but the real life stuff. Where do you even start with that?
It actually all crystallizes for me in 2 trips to the grocery store. The first one was about 3 years ago. I'm in the checkout line with a cart full of what I can only call optimistic fiction. You know, protein shakes, cauliflower rice, a mountain of Greek yogurt.
Oh, I know that cart. The This Week Will Be Different cart.
Exactly. But hidden under a reusable bag was a family-sized bag of cheddar kettle chips. Because, balance. The cashier gets to the chips. She pauses. She looks at me, then at the chips, then back at me. No words, just this incredibly loud silence.
Oh, that is the absolute worst. The silent judgment. It's so much more powerful than anything they could say.
Right? I went home and seriously contemplated finding a new grocery store. But then, last week, I'm in the same store, same lane, but 90 pounds lighter. My cart has salmon, protein granola, some dark chocolate, and the cashier, a different one, just smiles and tells me she likes my outfit.
Wow. Same place, totally different world.
Exactly. And that's the journey in a nutshell. It's not just about the weight. There are so many things I am grateful for. The first and maybe most surprising thing I'm grateful for is that my knees have stopped announcing their presence every time I stand up.
That's a big one. People don't talk about the low grade, constant pain, the sound effects when you take the stairs.
You just accept it as how your body works now. But the science is simple. Every pound of body weight is like 4 pounds of pressure on your knees. So losing 90 pounds, well, the math isn't subtle. My joints don't narrate my movements anymore.
That's incredible. It's a freedom you don't realize you've lost until you get it back.
It really is. And speaking of freedom, the next one is huge. The food noise stopped. I know we talk about food noise often, but if you know, you know. And Sarah, you know this is so hard to explain to people who haven't experienced it.
So hard. It's not just being hungry. It's a constant mental radio station playing a song about what you're going to eat next, what you just ate, what's in the fridge.
Yes, a background hum. I honestly thought everyone lived with it. I didn't know it was something that could just stop. Within weeks on the medication, the volume went down. The silence was disorienting, then clarifying. It was a gift.
It frees up so much mental energy for other things. It's completely life-changing.
Completely. Which brings me to something a little harder to talk about, my relationship with mirrors. For years, I had a strategy. Look for exactly what you need. Is my hair okay? And get out. No lingering. I mean, many of you know well, my hairstyle is rather, how do we put it, sparse. But still, I never liked the mirror.
The surgical strike approach to reflections. I think a lot of people can relate to that.
Right. And that avoidance is gone now. I'm not marveling at myself, but I can look in a mirror and see a person who did something genuinely hard. But I have to be clear. It wasn't just the weight loss. The medication handled the physical part, but changing the beliefs I had about my body, that took a different kind of effort.
That's such an important distinction. The medicine is a tool, not a magic wand for your self-perception.
And let me also shout out to all of the providers and doctors I am grateful and thankful to work with. Before GLP-1 treatment, I had a specific pre-appointment ritual that involved wearing the lightest possible clothing, removing everything from my pockets, including items that genuinely weighed nothing, and spending the preceding 48 hours in a state of anticipatory low-grade dread.
Oh, the way in at the doctor's office. To be honest, I still dread that.
I was afraid of the scale. I was afraid of the lab results. I was afraid of the particular expression that some providers have. Not unkind exactly, but visibly calculating something and finding it insufficient. I am grateful for healthcare that feels collaborative. For a provider who looks at my chart and asks what I have observed rather than only telling me what the numbers say. That dynamic is worth more than I would have known to value 2.5 years ago when I was too busy strategically underdressing for weigh ins to understand what good care could feel like.
Having a provider that is your partner means everything to your physical and mental health along this journey.
This is one that does not appear on enough GLP-1 gratitude lists, and it deserves more attention. Before losing weight, my sleep was a negotiation. I was a snorer. Struggling with sleep apnea is not fun. I woke up tired on mornings after 8 hours of sleep. I had the kind of fatigue that does not respond to coffee and does not fully resolve regardless of how long you lie down. At a certain point, that becomes your baseline, and you stop noticing how far below normal you are operating. The change in sleep quality as the weight came off was significant and swift. I am grateful for sleep that does what sleep is supposed to do.
Sleep quality affects everything: cognitive function, mood, appetite regulation, cardiovascular health, immune function, and the ability to sustain the behavior changes that support long-term weight maintenance. Improving sleep was not something I was consciously targeting when I started this journey. It arrived as a consequence of the weight loss and became one of the most impactful changes in how I function day to day.
Another thing that changed was how other people treated me. Doors being held open, more eye contact from strangers, just a general warmth that wasn't there before. I am grateful for the kindness of others, but it's with mixed emotions, you know?
That has to be validating, but also a little infuriating, right? To see that bias in action so clearly.
It was. But the most important thing it did was point the mirror back at me. It forced me to ask, how have I been treating people? Have I been making assumptions? It made me decide to be more deliberate about treating everyone with the kindness I wanted when the world was less generous with me. So I am grateful for that self-realization.
That's a powerful lesson, and probably the most unexpected one.
Absolutely. And through all this, I found I had something to say. I started sharing my story. I started my website and blog, and then we did this podcast. I realized so many people felt alone on this journey. I was not anticipating that other people were sitting in their own parking lots, outside their own pharmacies, holding their own small paper bags, and looking for evidence that someone had done this and come out okay. Hearing from listeners who say, I thought I was the only one, has been one of the most rewarding parts of this. It's why I ended up writing a book about my experiences, not as medical advice, but as the book I wish someone had handed me 2.5 years ago.
That's amazing, Scott. Building that community is so vital.
150 episodes later, I hear from you. Not in sweeping dramatic ways, but in the comments and the emails and the messages that arrive on ordinary Tuesday afternoons. The ones that say, I thought I was the only one. Messages that say, I needed this today. But I showed up 150 times, and you showed up with me. And that is something I genuinely did not anticipate when I did that first injection and went to bed uncertain about everything that came next.
We showed up together, and to each of you listening, I am speaking to you. You showed up to listen with us. Together, we are grateful that you keep returning. As long as you do, we will have another fun story to share with you and support each other. So if you have listened all along or are new here, leave us a review or 5-star rating. I know we ask on each episode, but now is more important than ever to share our gratitude for your ratings and review. Thank you for taking the time to do that for us today. Now, tell us, Scott, I am sure you have one more piece of gratitude to share with us, right?
I do. And thank you, Sarah. I am grateful to you for being with me. But the last thing I'm grateful for is the person I found on the other side. Not because he's thinner, but because he's clearer, less afraid, less afraid of his own reflection and his own appointments and his own future. That version of me was always present. The medication lowered the volume on all the noise, and I could finally hear the person I was trying to be, and that's something I never could have anticipated. It was not in any of the clinical literature I read before starting. It was not in the FAQ. It arrived quietly, over 30 months, in the space left behind by 90 pounds and several 100,000 calories that no longer existed between me and the person I was trying to be.
That's a beautiful way to put it, Scott. It's been an incredible journey to follow.
Thank you, Sarah. And thank you to everyone listening for being a part of this community. Your messages and support mean the world to us. I am forever grateful for that, for all of it, including you tuning in every week and reading my blog, or even buying a copy of my book on Amazon. So, on behalf of Sarah, I'm Scott Johnson, and that is a big wrap on number 150. Keep going and always remember to love your journey.